Sing to the rock, sing to the tree, sing to the firefly lighting up the sky. Sing, sing to the sea.
Hello, I'm Mary Wheelan, and this is The Song, a show that features songwriters and their original songs. And today I am very pleased to welcome back Mark Nomad.
Well, green eyes, honey, why'd you lie me out? Green eyes, honey, why'd you lock me out? You don't trust nobody, don't even know what I'm about. I remember those nights, baby, when it seemed like you were mine. Those nights, darling, when it seemed like you were mine. You can't belong to nobody, no. Without freedom, there's just dying. Listen, baby, and when you reach the Emerald Isle, with little meadows and green seas, think about us once in a while, and kiss the blindest stone for me. Ooh, yeah. Green eyes, honey, where you gone? Green eyes, honey, where you gone? Where you gone, baby? I thought there could be no lies. Well, I guess that I was wrong. I was wrong. This next one is off my latest record. The record's called Number 9 because it's my 9th.
And this song is one of the oldest songs that are in my collection. And it's written as a young man many, many years ago. It's called My Clouds Have Denim Linings.
I do it my way, in spite of things they say or do. I am romantic, but I get frantic. My time ain't long, baby, how about you? I wanna see the world, meet a lot of pretty girls, make some money playing my guitar. I think of her, I think of you. I wonder what the hell I'm gonna do. I'll just keep riding, you call it hiding. It just depends on your point of view. When I was a boy, my one and only joy was dreaming about how things could. Find there are no absolutes. To live you got to love, that's all.
Well, I'm so glad that you're back. I really enjoyed your songs. I love the blues.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, that's great. Now, it's been a while since
Years.
You've been here. Yeah, probably like 3 years
At least,
or so.
yeah.
And so I know you've been busy. You want to let people know what kinds of stuff you've been doing?
Wow. Yeah, I guess I came out with at least one record, maybe two in that time. Yeah, there would have been two that were released. One called A Real Fine Day, and that, like most of my records, you know, it's got a fair amount of band work on it, and that one there was some funky stuff. They got, because I love funky music, but you know, there are always some acoustic songs as well. And my latest one is called Number 9. It's my ninth, but also that whole, you know, Beatles thing, number nine, because it's a rock record. It's a rock and roll record, and you know, I mean, I'm kind of known as a blues person, but I grew up with all kinds of music, and as a writer, I don't want to limit myself, you know, to one, you know, genre only. So that's kind of what I've been up to, a couple of records and a lot of gigs.
Yeah, and a lot of gigs, yeah. I've noticed you've been pretty busy with the gigs too, yeah. Now, number 9 is number 5 on a radio station.
Oh yeah, there's, well, you know,
among their top 40.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for the stations that do play it. I mean, you know, mostly they're blues shows, and things have changed so much. So with each record release, I noticed that there are fewer blues shows on the stations, and you know, people aren't listening to as much radio. They're not reading as many newspapers and magazines either. You know, things are just so geared towards internet and devices and such. But I'm grateful for whatever. I just look at it like I'm sharing my music at this point, you know?
Yeah. Now, one of the albums you think of more as rock than
my latest one. I mean, there's blues on it for
Yeah.
sure, but there's like 2 tracks that I would consider straight blues, and then there's some bluesy tracks, and then there's some rock and roll. You know, you know, there's one tune that's pretty heavy. I have 4 different drummers on the record, and normally that might not always be a recipe for consistency, you know, because people like to, your records have a theme and you kind of want to groove, but each of these excellent drummers brought something very special to the songs. The songs are just very wide-ranging, and there's one acoustic instrumental called Dad Gad, and it's in the Dad Gad tuning, and it's the only song I play in that. I wrote it when I learned that tuning, and that's different. And some people are saying that's their favorite song. As a songwriter, do you notice that your songs are your children, you know, and you just, you know, people say, well, what's your favorite? Well, I love them all. And I really appreciate it when people like different songs and not always the same one, because that would mean that only one of them's pretty good and the rest of them maybe not so much, you know. So that's another thing that I like. And it's a journey, this record. People don't listen to records so much anymore from beginning to end. Like when we were young, remember when it was an event, you'd buy an LP and you'd sit there and read the liner notes and play the record. It was kind of a religious experience in a certain way, you know. And people today everything's shuffled, and it's hard to get you get somebody's attention for 30 minutes, you know. But I hope that a few people will take the time to listen to it from beginning to end, because it is a journey. Yeah. I was very, you know, careful.
And nowadays with
sequence.
MP3s, sometimes people just do 1 or 2 songs. They'll download it, not the whole thing. Yeah.
Well, we were talking about that a little earlier. You know, how the digital downloads now, and but again, you know, I'm not in it for the money. You know, I'm in it for the love. And I think if any musician / songwriter out there, you've got to love it first, and then the rest is gravy. You know.
Now, I once heard somebody refer to rock music as speeded up blues. Do you think of it that way? Or?
Well, I think that's a good point. In fact, when in sending out my number 9 to a lot of radio stations and publications that are, you know, with a blues slant, I always send a postcard. And on the picture side of the postcard is the cover art. And my daughter did the cover art for my last 2 records, and they're both completely different, you know. And then the other side is a little blurb about the record. And I quoted Muddy Waters, who said the blues had a baby and called it rock and roll. And so I wanted to prepare these blues people for the fact that there's going to be some rock and roll on this record. And that, and you know, you quote Muddy, who's arguably the godfather of the blues, you know, electric blues anyway. And I think that gives it a little credence.
Now, do you think that the genre impacts your lyrics at all, or?
I think so, although, you know, certainly, I was just reading an interview with this fellow Gary Clark, who's probably the latest up-and-coming, you know, young blues star, and you've got to keep the music vital. You've got to keep it alive, and, you know, I wasn't born in the Mississippi Delta. I was born in the Connecticut Delta, you know, and so my frame of reference, for me to be singing about, you know, things that I didn't experience, there's not truth there. Now, I do cover some songs where I'll, you know, there'll be a line, but when I write my songs, it's my truth. and it's therapeutic. I mean, I've gotten to the point where I don't write songs because I want to. I write them because I have to. You know, I play music because I have to. Although I'm not writing at this moment in time. I'm purposely not writing because I have to work the new record and stuff. And it's like, oh my gosh, you know, more songs. You know, what do you do with them? Sometimes they just come.
Yeah. So so you kind of put them off?
I'm trying to hold them at bay right now, you know. And of course, I have sketch medium. I still have like cassette tapes that have sketches on them, and I have digital media with with song fragments on them. And 5 of the songs on number 9 are new, brand new, and there's 1 cover. And then the other 3 are originals that vary from, 10, 20, and like 43 years ago. That one I wrote when I was in preschool. In fact, that was the second song that I wrote. And I could never write a song like that now. Because it's such a young man's silly perspective. I can sing it, I'm quoting it, and I feel it, but I would never write a song like that now.
Yeah, age does have an impact on your songs, doesn't it? I think with teenagers, I think sometimes it's what it is therapy for the people, self-therapy. You know, you're working out.
I think that actually is an attribute of music that hopefully never goes away. Is the healing properties of music, whether it's therapeutic and you can kind of channel this energy and these feelings, so you don't, you can kind of like not bottle these things up or go commit a crime or something. I mean, you put it in song, and it, you can kind of keep it, in a certain place. But the music is very healing. I think music should be healing. And even if, I'm not always the biggest fan of a lot of the new stuff that I hear, but rock and roll, when that first came out, the big band people were so aghast, and rock and roll is the province of the young. And whatever it's become, the pop and the hip hop and everything today, and that's young people's music, and they deserve to have their own music.
Oh yeah. Now, and I was asking about genre. Do you feel like sometimes you write lyrics? Do you write the lyrics first ever? No, you always write the lyrics after.
I always write I can have a title maybe or a phrase, but 99% of the time the music comes first, and then I write the lyrics to fit the music. But the lyrics also have to express what I'm feeling or thinking at that time, and what the song suggests.
Yeah, great. And now, I want to make sure people know how they can get in touch with you or find out more about you and your music.
Sure. Well, my website is marknomad.com, and I try to keep it current with bits of news, and my gigs are posted on there. But as when I was talking to the folks here earlier, we were talking about Facebook and how you can spend so much money on your website, and yet most people are looking at Facebook. So I put my dates. I wait until the week of the gig to put it on Facebook, whereas on my website a date could be up there for a half a year. If I've got a date with my band at Theodore's in Springfield, which is it's an award-winning blues and barbecue place, and it's in September. I'll be there, so I posted it, but I won't post it on Facebook until the week of the gig.
Until it's closer to it.
Because everything's so now,
Yeah, and it seems kind of important to do both, I would think.
Absolutely, and of course at my gigs I have to train myself to tell people about my website and please like me on Facebook. I never remember to do those things because the songs, I go off when I'm playing. I'm transported, and you're not always thinking about business things, when you're playing the music. But there is a business of music, so.
Sure, there is the business side, yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time people have to do it themselves. They can't always be sharing, profits with a manager, whatever profits there are.
Yeah. Well, I would. It's a necessary. I don't want to call it an evil, but I do my music in spite of having to do the business side of my music, and in this day and age, the good news is that people can release their own records, and they have means of promoting their records and such. I go back, my first band, that put out a record in the 70s. We had a manager and we were on a record label, and that's how it was done. Yeah. There's a show on HBO right now. Martin Scorsese produces it. It's called Vinyl, and it harkens back to those crazy. The times in the 70s, big money, big lots of things. It was not always the prettiest. Let's face it. Sometimes, if Martin Scorsese is going to do something, he tends to show sometimes the seamier side of life, juxtaposed with beauty as well. Yeah. So,
now some people really feel like vinyl is actually a better sound, and it's kind of having a resurgence these days. Have you ever thought about coming out with anything?
Oh, I did. I strongly considered putting number 9 out on vinyl as well. Except that unfortunately, my demographic, most of my demographic are boomers, and most of them no longer have turntables. It's the hipsters that have the turntables now. So the young hipsters, that is. So I still have a turntable, but it's very expensive to press a record now. It's crazy. So I didn't think it was, practical to put it out on vinyl. I hope I can, but at some point. But it's out on a CD. They're saying the CD is going to go away. Yeah. And then people are even now they're not even downloading as much off of iTunes. They're streaming. Yeah. But we go with the flow, I guess, right?
Yeah. Well, I know you have some more music.
Yes.
That you're going to play. And so that would be great.
Thank you again, and thanks for doing what you do, and congratulations on well over 100 episodes.
All right. Thank you.
She was a gypsy from the continent, never stayed around to have a ring. She sailed across the 7 seas, wind of change brought her to me. Now she's sailing line and a lane, and I'm waiting, 'cause she's sailing without me. She grew up without a mom or dad, made it tough, it made me mad. She moved me with a love for life, but I knew she'd never be my wife. Now she's sailing line and a lane, and I'm wailing, 'cause she's sailing without me. I see it, I feel like crying. I'm glad for the love we shared, but when she left, I was unprepared. Now she's sailing the line and laying, and I'm waiting, 'cause she's sailing without me. Now she's sailing the line and laying, and I'm waiting, 'cause she's sailing without me.
It's called Hannah Lee. That's on my first record, Nomad's Land, which is out of print. And then I electrified it on another record. So some of these songs can be done both ways. This one's called My Mind Gets to Wandering.
My mind gets to wandering, as it's wont to do. Wonder how it could have been with a girl like you. Soul gets to traveling to some far off land. Feel like blowing this popsicle stand. My mind gets to wondering what I should do. Many things possible, but I try so few. Truth is so simple, it's hard to see. Can't see the forest for the trees. It's time to ramble, move on along. I gotta sing my own song. Ain't so much what you do, but the way that you do it, and if your heart is true.